We live in a world of boundaries. Lines we draw, walls we build, distances we keep. But the story of Jesus is a story of a God who crosses every line to come close. This Advent, we follow him across the boundaries of generations, culture, and circumstances, into hope, love, joy, and peace.
Hey, good morning, everybody. So about 6 months ago, almost to the day, I was experiencing my first morning in Lilongwe, Malawi. Many of you know that we sent a team of from Hope to Malawi, and we left on a Friday or Saturday. It kind of all blurred to me because it was a long day of traffic, getting from here to JFK, and then from all those things you do at the airport now to get on a plane, and then 2 long flights. And everyone, when we talk about going to Malawi, the first question they ask is, how long was the flight? 15 hours. And that wasn't all the travel. There's still more travel. So it was about 24 hours of travel total. And every step of the way, my body said, what are you doing? I just ached and creaked and hurt in places I didn't know I could hurt from a plane. And we arrived, and we were tired, and we were jet lagged, and I'll be honest, I was really cranky. I just hadn't experienced travel like that before, and I just wasn't prepared for it as much as I knew about it, knew it was coming. And I remember writing in my journal that first morning after we had finally passed out in our bunks, and I remember writing, God, I don't know how I'm going to serve this morning because I am fried and I need some time to not do anything. I was really whining to God in a sense. You know, when you do that, it was a holy whine, but it still was a whine. And we then arrived at a place called Seeds of Promise, and you'll be hearing more about that through today and even in the weeks and months ahead. And Seeds of Promise is a ministry of Urban Promise International. And it was our first location. They have a church on their property, and we went to church there that Sunday morning. And like I said, I was in the van, in the seat, smiling, letting the team know we're ready to go. And I was like, oh, really, that was what was inside. And this is the first thing I saw. I took it on my iPhone. All right, watch this. Joy, so much excitement. There was that, on my computer screen, she's wearing all purple. I don't know if it was a blue or purple, Eunice. It was blue? Oh, my screen's got a problem then. Okay, I hear you. All right, and so it doesn't work then because I was calling her the Purple Pied Piper on my screen as I watched that. But so much joy, so many kids everywhere. Everywhere you look, there were more kids, and they just kept showing up. And one young lady, Eunice, was leading them. And I became fascinated with Eunice's story. And it turns out that Eunice now attends worship here at Hope every week. Isn't that great? Yeah, so Eunice, come on up. Eunice and I are going to talk a little bit. So when Eunice first came, she didn't come to Malawi just to come to Hope, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct. No, it's on. You're good. Push that again. There, leave it there. Yep. That's not why you came, right?
No.
Okay. So how did you decide to start attending worship here?
So one of the ladies that came to Malawi with you guys volunteered herself to bring us to church that week. So we found ourselves here. Yeah.
All right, and you love us.
We love you, and it has become a home because the real pastors were all excited to see us here. Like their first expression was, "Oh, we have our own pharaohs now."
Yeah.
So yeah, that got us really excited.
That's great. But you're not here only to go to church here at Hope. You're here to you're going to school.
Yes.
And tell us about what's going on in your school experience.
So I'm attending my master's in business administration at Kane University. So apart from the fellowship program that I have with Urban Promise International, I'm also doing school.
Yeah, so you're a fellow in Urban Promise International's program, and you're attending Cairn University, getting your MBA, Master of Business Administration.
Yes.
Right, and it's a 2-year program?
2-year program.
All right, so you're going to be here away from home for 2 years.
For 2 years.
Wow, that's quite a commitment. But tell us, what do you do when you're at Seeds of Promise? What is it that you do? How long have you been attending Seeds of Promise? Sorry, I forgot that question.
I joined Seeds of Promise in 2018, so it's been, I think, more than 8 years. As one of the youths to be trained in tailoring and designing. So I did their course for 6 months, and then afterwards they sponsored my tuition to go to university, one of the Presbyterian universities in Malawi.
Okay, so you started there doing the interior design program.
Yes.
Okay, and then from there you went on to university and graduated.
Yeah.
Right? And what's your degree in?
Social science and human rights.
Social science and human rights.
Yes.
Wow, okay, and now getting your master's in business administration.
Yeah.
You know what, mine was a psych degree, that's it. That's all I did, yeah. So tell us, so you're going back to Seeds of Promise when you graduate in 2 years, or now 18 months, right? And what's your intended vision for when you get back to Seeds?
So at Seeds of Promise, we meet up with kids every Friday, weekly, about 300 to 500 kids. And apart
Pause there. Do you hear what you said? 400 to 500 kids. There's 400 seats here, all right? Everyone will be filled, and there's still 100 more that wouldn't fit, all right? That's how many kids every Friday. Sorry, just to make sure I interrupt you. Go ahead.
All right. So apart from the Bible stories, lessons that we have with them, we also provide them food every week, about the 500 kids. As you can see in the videos, they came with plates. So we provide food, our local staple food is Sima every week with them, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you feed them Sima every week?
Yes.
Yeah, and they 500 kids.
500 kids.
Now that's your after school program every Friday.
Yes, after school program every Friday.
That's September through May?
That runs throughout the year.
Okay, but then during the summer you have a special summer program, right?
Yes, during the summer we have a summer program for 3 weeks. It runs it starts in August through September.
Okay.
Yes. So we have this number of 500 kids doubles. Because you also have kids from the surrounding communities, neighboring communities coming to our program. So we reach about 1,000 to 1,500 kids, yes.
All right, let me just put my head around that. So you just said that your program more than doubles.
Yes.
All right, and it's still the same thing, you feed these kids as well?
Yeah, we feed them every day for 3 weeks.
Every day for 3 weeks. So 1,000 to 1,500 students?
Yes.
Every day?
Every day.
Every day. Mm-hmm. And it's summer there, right?
It's summer.
So it's
No, not there, it's winter, during.
Yeah. Is it hot?
No, a bit cold.
It'd be cold. Mm-hmm. Cold.
It can be cold too.
You mean cold you mean 90? Because I was there at that time, all right?
Yes.
All right, yeah. It's hot. All right? What about here right now? What's this? Is this cold?
The coldest I've been.
It's the coldest you've ever been. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're 1,000 to 1,500 students. You all should be volunteering for Vacation Bible School this summer, all right? Because I don't want to hear about 100 kids, all right? You should all be here, all right? Hey, let's thank Eunice. Thank you, Eunice. You take that with you. Thank you very much. So we arrived at Seeds of Promise, and we were blessed to have an opportunity to worship with them that Sunday. We plan to return to Urban Promise and Seeds of Promise in June. And if anybody's interested, talk to me afterward. I'd love to let you know about how you can be a part of our team. While we were at Seeds, we went to worship together. I think there's a picture going to show up. There were kids everywhere. I said, they just kept showing up. It's like they were growing kids, it seemed, in the church. They just showed up. At one point, even I started holding a baby, and I don't hold babies, but I was even holding a baby. That's how inspired I got at this experience while we were there. Eunice is also a fantastic cook. Eunice cooked us lunch. So while she was handling all these kids, she also made lunch that day for us. We got a tour of the church. They have a farm. They have acres of property, and they have a sewing ministry, sewing school, like she said, interior design as well. And we were introduced to staff who cook and care for the hundreds of children, and they cook on open fires, feeding all these kids. We saw they have a tilapia farm. We saw their tilapia farm. We saw cornfields that they use to raise the maize to feed the children. We saw a banana tree crop that they're beginning to put into place. They have multiple beehives, and we met the beekeeper. That was pretty cool to meet a beekeeper, and he showed us around a bit as well. And here's what I took away from that morning. I went into it cranky and grumpy and kind of like whining that I had traveled so far and it was so hard. And I realized that we weren't there to build the kingdom. We were witnessing the kingdom being built around us. And we visited Seeds of Promise on our first day in Malawi. And then every day after, we went to a different ministry site and saw different things. But I have to say that for me, that was our best day. I compared every other day to that day, because God spoke into my heart in that day. See, because the intention, even when you know it's not, the intention is you think you're going there to help people, and you're going there to serve people. And they helped me to see that I was going there to be a partner with people. And that while I had little to offer that morning, they had much to offer me. And they had much to show me. And they invited me to be part of something. And they brought joy to this weary 60-year-old whining pastor. Because they invited me into their community, and they invited me into a ministry partnership. And I got to see the kingdom already being built and continues to be built. So we saw the foundation for Eunice's school, and we hope when we go back, I forgot to say that, Eunice, fingers crossed, our plan is to build that building so that when Eunice gets back there in 18 months, her building will be built. 200 students will be in her preschool. 40 kids in a classroom? 50. Oh, 50. Oh, just 50. Just 50 kids in a classroom, yeah. All you teachers out there, stop your complaining too. My wife right now, I'm going to hear about that when I get home. So we're in this series called Crossing Boundaries. Last week, we began tracing how God refuses to stay at a distance. That God has crossed the boundaries of time and culture and expectation. And that God's desire is to draw near and to bring salvation and relationship. And that Jesus is calling us to do the same. And today's question is really quite simple. What does it look like to carry joy across the boundaries in our own lives? What does it look like to carry joy across the boundaries in our own lives? And just for definition's sake, let's try to explain joy a little bit. Joy is not about offering a happy sentiment. It isn't just saying Merry Christmas because it's seasonal. It's not a seasonal cheer. That's not what joy is when we're talking about joy. Joy is this boundary-breaking reality of God's presence. And that this presence pushes into the places that may be shut down by fear or disappointment or division. And when God is present, when God pushes through into these spaces, when God is present, joy crosses lines we assumed couldn't be crossed. Joy crosses lines into someone's heart who's tired and weary. Joy pushes through that. And our world is starving for that kind of joy. For the kind of joy that appears when God is present. So I want to read to you the part of the Christmas story. It's from Luke chapter 2. It's going to be up on the screen as well. It says, "That night there were shepherds staying in the fields nearby, and they were guarding their flocks of sheep. Suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared among them." I would love to know how that happens. Like, it just appeared. This angel just appeared. "And the radiance of the Lord's glory surrounded them." I don't know what that means either, just, bright lights, I guess, and a lot of radiance and glory. "And they were terrified," which, as Pastor James mentioned last week, whenever angels show up, they're terrifying. And as always in the Bible, it says that when angels show up, they reassure us and they say, "Don't be afraid." Because if an angel shows up and the angel says, "Don't be afraid," you're no longer afraid, right? Yeah. So they're terrified, but the angel reassured them, "Don't be afraid." And then he said, "I bring you good news that will bring great joy to all people." Great joy to all people. The Savior, yes, the Messiah, the Lord, has been born today in Bethlehem, the city of David. And you will recognize him by this sign. You will find a baby wrapped snugly in strips of cloth and lying in a manger. And then suddenly the angel was joined by a vast host of others, the armies of heaven. And so now there's no longer just one angel. Now there's a vast host of them. I don't know how many a host is, but it's more than one, and it's a lot. And Luke calls them the armies of heaven, have now all entered Earth's atmosphere. And I'm sure there was a little bit of terror going on again with the shepherds. And they're praising God and they're saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and peace on earth to those with whom God is pleased." A few minutes ago, we just sang, "When we sing, heaven's so close." Those shepherds experienced heaven crossing into earth. Heaven was so close, it was all around them. And these angels, they were crossing the boundary between heaven and earth with a message that joy is available and joy has been delivered. And then this army joins them and they sing of this joy that's been delivered, multiplying the message over and over and over again. And then Luke goes on and he says, "When the angels have returned to heaven, the shepherds said to each other, 'Let's go to Bethlehem. Let's see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has told us about.' They hurried to the village and they found Mary and Joseph. And there was the baby lying in the manger. After seeing him, the shepherds told everyone what had happened and what the angel had said to them about this child. And all who heard the shepherd's story were astonished. But Mary kept all these things in her heart and thought about them often. The shepherds went back to their flocks, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen. It was just as the angel had told them." So the shepherds' reaction to angels crossing heaven's boundary was to cross some boundaries of their own. They said, "Let's go to that village. Let's see what there is to see." And then all along the way, they told others what they had experienced. Luke says they had a let's go and let's see moment. Let's go and let's see. They moved out. They went from where they were to someplace else. They stepped in to this village and where this family was located. They had a let's go and let's see attitude. And the joy that grew from this heavenly host of angels moved to this group of shepherds, and it moved to everyone that they saw after. All were astonished. And I would suggest this morning that from this story, I think one of the takeaways is that we need to be more shepherd-like in our lives. That we need to have more let's go and let's see moments in our lives. That joy multiplies. That joy can bridge generations and circumstances and stories. And as we choose to lean in and connect with others, that we aren't the source of joy, but we're the recipients and the expressors of joy. So what struck me about this story, and the reason I share with you about my experience in Malawi is this, is that joy was already present when I arrived. I was still on the bus, and joy was already happening out in the field. And Seeds of Promise wasn't waiting for a group from New Jersey to show up so that joy could get started. They weren't waiting for us to get there so that the party could start. It had already begun. It was already alive. It was already happening in their songs and in their staff and in their kids and in the work that was happening every day to do what they were doing to make a difference in the community that they were living in. It was already happening. And here's how this became most clear to me. I didn't bring joy with me. And I wasn't there to rescue people. I was there to see joy already happening and be invited to partner with them. That Seeds wasn't manufacturing joy, but they were leaning into their community. They were sharing a joy that they had discovered, and they were allowing it to multiply into student after student after student, into family after family after family, so that 1,500 kids at one point will be at their summer program. I was invited to partner with people who were already building the kingdom with more passion and more perseverance than I could have imagined. And I was whining about a plane flight. They were building a kingdom that was leading to multiplied joy, and it even multiplied into my heart that day. I left there different, not because of anything I brought with me, but because of what they gave to me. And since then, it's led me to rethink what it means to cross uncomfortable boundaries. And I don't just mean long travel, not just boundaries of miles, but other uncomfortable moments too. See, I have a theory that every day we have a choice. I'm arguing that it's every day this happens. We have a choice to lean in or look away. We have a choice to lean in or look away. Every day I believe this happens to us. And I also believe that when we were small, when we were children, our default was to lean in. And we've learned to look away. I think that's true because I know that with my children, and I know it was true with me growing up as well, and you may say the same for you as growing up, that when you saw something that was uncomfortable or different or it got your attention, you stared at it. And then your parent said, "Stop staring." And you couldn't stop staring. Somewhere we learned to stop staring. And when we did, we learned to look away. And so now when we see things that make us uncomfortable, we look away. Not always with just with our eyes, but we look away. We hear about great need and we look away. Some of us make decisions, and it's probably the right decision, is we don't watch or read the news as often as we could because we don't want to see it, so we look away. But sometimes it's other moments. And again, looking away sometimes is good and healthy. When you're on the highway and there's a traffic accident, just stay in your lane and look ahead. Don't rubberneck, right? It just slows everybody down. But we do that, right? So looking away there is a good moment. There are other times, right? You might be in the grocery store and you see a couple arguing over what kind of crackers to buy. And you're like, this is awkward, right? And you look away. But then there's also moments, and I know it happened to me, as I was preparing this message, daggone it, God, why do you do this? When you're in the city and you're at a traffic light and there's someone who's asking for money, and I can't look them in the eye. And so I look away. And I don't know if I should. But I do. We've become good at looking away. We're really good at staying in our lane. And maybe we need to learn how to lean in again. To push past the barrier of discomfort that makes us look away. To be more like the shepherds and say, hey, let's go and let's see. Those angels crossed a barrier. Let's cross a barrier ourselves as well. So one of my favorite books is a book called Dangerous Wonder. You don't know this, but I have preached every story in here and claimed it as my own. It's by a guy named Mike Yaconelli. He tells a story about this small California town that he was a pastor in. He says, our town is very small by California standards. 1 traffic light and 6,000 residents. One Sunday morning, I was preaching about the unconditional love of God, a love that was outside the lines and resulted in the church loving outside the lines. He goes on to say, our church is different from most. The congregation feels free to interrupt me during my sermons. Let's not start that practice. So he says, I was just finishing. A 16-year-old girl said, this is a good sermon, Pastor. But I was thinking that if we're supposed to love outside the lines, then I know how we can do it. And she stood up and said, in 3 weeks, the Siskiyou County Fair is coming, and with the fair comes the carnies. Now, the carnies are these itinerant workers who operate the rides of the traveling carnival. Every year, the carnies are the talk of our rural town, and most of them are tough-looking and scary with lots of tattoos, huge muscles, and hard-looking faces. People always make derogatory comments about them. The high school girl continued, and she said, I was thinking that instead of making fun of the carnies, maybe we should have a dinner and welcome them to town. The church agreed, and this young girl organized the entire event. She called the manager of the fair for permission. She called the owner of the carnival to see if they would want a dinner. The carnival owner suggested a lunch just before the fair opened. Okay, she said, we'll barbecue hamburgers and cheeseburgers and have salads, desserts, and soft drinks. All you can eat. How many can we expect? And after some thought, the owner said, expect about 50. The day of the lunch, about 20 people from the church showed up to serve, and there was enough food for 70. At 12:30, when the lunch was to begin, only 4 carnies showed up. But by 1:30, however, we hadn't served 50 carnies or 75 carnies or even 150 carnies. We had 200 carnies. When it looked like we would run out of food, the young girl came running up to me, the pastor, and she said, "We're running out of food, go get some." And so I did. When the lunch was over, numerous carnies came up to the young girl and thanked her. And one older lady who had been working carnivals for a long time said, "I have been doing carnivals for 40 years, and this is the first time I've been welcomed to town." The all-you-can-eat carny lunch has been going now for 7 years, all because a teenage girl was naive enough to believe God loved a group of carnies as much as he loved her. See, leaning in isn't fixing someone's situation. It's naively believing that joy can be multiplied when we lean in and connect with others. It's not about arriving with answers, but building relationships and joy together. See, because joy grows when we share life beyond our comfort zone boundaries. When we move out, when we choose to have a let's go and let's see moment. We don't have to manufacture joy. We simply have to cross a boundary and lean in, and joy will show up. And we lean into the joy that God is already cultivating. And as Rachel Held Evans has said, the church is at its best when it's a place of celebration. When we throw open the doors and we say, "You're already in."